former coaches, former player friends, and asked them how they thought he'd go.
I know exactly how Brad's going to be feeling on Saturday night. It was only 12 months or so ago that I was in the same position myself. He'll know what to do, he'll know what to say. He's been in plenty of dressing rooms himself, before games, at half-time, after games. He's just got to trust that instinct.
I was with Freddie when he was 17-year-old. He used to hop in his car and he had to kick the McDonald's and the Red Rooster and that aside. I see him grow from that, got better as a footballer, matured into a great leader.
And what a great place to start, the Roosters. A pressure-free environment where you'll get all the time you need to grow into that position.
He's obviously passionate about the place. He's been here for a long time now and obviously steered us through some terrific times, and now we've fallen on hard times. So that passion that he's got for the place is obviously going to be a bonus for us.
If a guy like Brad Fittler was telling me to run a play or run through a brick wall, I mean, you'd do it. Freddie's just one of those legend players that holds up much respect, and if I was a young kid in today's game, I'd want to play under Brad Fittler.
Fittler will score!
And it's always a good sign when you take over from someone who retires because of health reasons.
He also brings a lot of experience too. I think he's been in first grade from the age of 17 or something, played State of Origin, played for Australia, and naturally has done a fair apprenticeship as an assistant coach under some good coaches as well.
But in all honesty, I'd like to wish him good luck, and I'll see him Tuesday in therapy.
Yeah, we all wish him luck, and he's here tonight. It's been a monumental week for the man. He's a legend of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Fittler. Now, before we start, Fred, I just got a quick pic of you, just get a photo of you. That'll be memento of your boyish good looks. They'll be gone after this week, pal. Well, mate, now, a lot of people who are watching the show tonight that, aren't footy heads. First of all, people have asked me, why do they call you Freddie? Where did it all start, Freddie?
Mate, Jack Gibson a long time ago, first Origin game. Walked into the sheds, he said, how you going, boy, what's your name? I said, Brad, and he went, Fred, all right, you can go and do this now. And Paul Langmate was standing behind, and that was it, so
Freddie,
pretty boring.
Now, MG, you two blokes, you blokes go back 20-odd years. I mean, your first memories of this bloke, did you think ever he'd become a football coach?
Well, I remember Freddie coming home with Benny Alexander one day, and I was at Brandy's house, and he was about 15 at the time, a bit of baby fat about him, and 2 years later I'm playing in first grade with him. And if you would have asked me back then, if there was one player in my team back then who would never coach rugby league, I would have said Freddie. The way he's transformed himself over the last 15 years, honestly, it's sensational. And I'm here today as a mate and as an ex-colleague to say how proud I am of you. I really am, brother. Good on you, brother.
Well, that's nice. Right up. The boys, MG, like, as a first grade coach, one of the things you want from your players, the blokes you're coaching out there, is punctuality, being at training on time. Was that always the way, MG? You got to share a story on this?
No, Freddie used to come in on a motorbike, a little RM80, and with a pack of twisties in his pocket and a can of Coke. And Gus was our coach back then, and I suppose Gus was a mentor to all of us, wasn't he? Really, and more so yourself and Woods and the way. Tell a story about when you're half an hour late for the training run. You rocked up in your...
Mate, I wasn't half an hour late.
Well, 10 minutes.
No, it was a bit early, actually, and he came in the motorbike and he called me in, screamed at me for half an hour, and I walked out crying. So that was about it, but it was that one talk, really, that turned me around a bit. It took me about a month to train and get off about 15 kilos of fat. And there's a couple of talks from Gus that actually steered me in the right direction when it was needed, and that's why he played such a large role, I suppose, as growing up, not just as a player, but as a bloke.
I mentioned in the intro to you that in all my time playing rugby league against players and with players, for a bloke with so much ability as yourself, I've never met a bloke so humble. Where does that come from?
I don't know, most probably Gus. That might have helped. I think one of those things was I come back from the tour and, things were getting out.
10 kilo overweight.
Things were getting out of hand, in the head. So, and he pulled up, stomped us straight on the spot. So, and that helped.
Freddie, let's talk about the job. Talk about the last week, 56-0 to Manly. Yeah. When did you find out that you were going to get the job, or you had the job, and what was your reaction?
I found out, I think, Monday night. Chris Anderson, I think, rang on Monday and resigned. You could see over the last couple of weeks, I think Canterbury beat us pretty convincingly as well. And, you know, I think we had some big weeks of training and he went in there pretty confident, and then once we got beat convincingly, you could see a bit of doubt, and he handed in on Monday. So Monday night, and we had a thing down Kiama, so I went down there for a day and basically just got over what had happened and then got on with it. And the boys have been unreal. And it's all about them, and that's the thing. It's most likely good at the moment from the Roosters' point of view, given that I have a profile with the Roosters, but the more we make it about the players and the more we make it about improving the club, the better.
Mate, when you walked into training, what was the first thing you changed, or what was the first thing you said to the players? What was your touch?
I don't know, we're going to be down there for 3 days, and the first thing we did was let's make it a day and get back to where we belong. And I think one of the things was Opes gives the players a lot of responsibility, and I think one of the things that they might have been crying out for a little bit was a bit more, you know, do this and worry more about the collision than worry about, you know, where to be and stuff like that. So we're trying to give them a little bit of, you know, a bit of structure, I suppose.
What I want to know is when in 1990, when we're sitting in a meeting, you know, with Gus and our team, what are you going to do when a player like me and Gus did, when I get up and me and Gus almost have a fight in the middle of a video session? What are you going to do when Chris Beattie says, that's BS, Freddie, you know? Are you going to get up and do what Gus did?
It's a hard thing, mate.
It is. It must be real hard.
I had to tell someone the other day that they're going to be in reserve grade, and it's a challenge. And that was one of the challenges I was always going to be concerned about. But I spoke to a few people and they said, you know, if you can be honest, and I spoke to JT about it, if you can be as honest as you can, then you can't really go back on any words or worry about anything you said in the past. So I try to use that angle, which I try to do in most things.
Mate, you've been coached by Gus, Ricky, some of the best coaches around. Yeah, what sort of coach is Brad Fittler going to be?
I don't know, I think you've got to be yourself. I think tactically it's going to be hard, it's going to take a while. Obviously you've got to learn your players, and sort of been around this club a long time, but these players are a new crew coming through, so you know, we've got to work that out. But I've had mostly a lot of great coaches, and they've all been very different. Some mentorish, Ricky's sort of, you know, a lot straighter, a lot more direct. While Opes is right on the other hand, where he gives you a lot of responsibility. So I'm a bit of Gus and Ricky in a way, but then I was never really much of Chris Anderson. I mostly learned a lot out of Chris Anderson, just the way he composed himself, and you know, obviously you saw at the end, you know, due to his health. So you've got to see what sort of sacrifices he took in the job.
A lot of people in rugby league or in life, they don't really change until they have a family. And everyone thinks of Brad Fittler, larrikin, good time guy, but once you had Demi and Zach, explain how life changed when you had your bubs.
Well, I had a couple of changes before that. Fallen asleep at a police station. Good.
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
That straightened up a little bit.
It does, doesn't it?
And then meeting Marie. You know, when I met Marie, that was a time where I sort of had to put a lot of things that I enjoyed before Marie to the side, and that made me a lot more, I suppose, direct in what I was doing. And then the kids, obviously, they take all your free time away. So, and watching them grow is another side of life. So when you're losing it, whether it's footy or not, you can always go home and you're growing somewhere else.
Yeah, Freddie, it's 1 minute before kick-off. You're in that sheds. Yeah, not tactically. What's the thing you're going to say to the players before you send them out your first game coaching?
It's hard, and I think I haven't really thought about that because I haven't had much time to think about anything really. Sort of everything's happened pretty quick. But mate, there's a few old rules that I grew up by in rugby league, and mate, things like going forward and stuff like that. Just your simple things that you can work on under pressure, and basically it's all about just effort. So if we can enhance that and encourage that, then you know, boys, I think we'll start to see improvement.
So it's 8 weeks. Caretaker role.
8 weeks.
Have you been told that if you do well, the job's yours next year?
No, there's been nothing said nor stipulated when I was told that it's for 8 weeks. So, you know, in a way, it's a good thing for me. So you don't have to, maybe if you don't like it, you don't have to get too nervous about worrying what's going to happen in the off-season. So, you know, you can dedicate 8 weeks, you can work hard. Got a good support team there.
Well, Freddie.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I think on behalf of everyone in rugby league, we want to wish you all the best. Now, everybody in the crowd, want to give 3 cheers for Freddie Fittler. Hold on, hang on. And, mate, I think it's what you've done to the game and what you stand for the game. 3 cheers for Freddie. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip.
Very good.
Mate, pleasure. Look after yourself, mate.
Nice work, boys.